Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Monday, the 22nd of September. We're about. How many days are there in September? 30? We're about 8 or 9 days away from the end of the month and the start of Q4, which is supposedly the most bullish quarter, especially October, November being the most bullish months. And yeah, we'll just go through some of the data real quick. Economic calendar, we have nothing too much of interest. We do have Powell, Big Powell, speaking at 5:30 p.m. UK time. That'll be 4:30 UTC, so it'll be about 11:30 maybe on the East Coast. That's probably a volatility event, but nothing really that you should be basing your trading on. Apart from that, just the standard data. Nothing really too much. Durable goods Thursday. We don't really care too much about this. So not really too much data apart from Wednesday 5:30 p.m. UK time will be a volatility event. Apart from that, yeah, all good on the old data. Max pain for the longs is sitting out at 109k for the month, so we still got a little bit lower to go for the max pain. Max pain for the shorts is at 118, so we probably took that anyway. Earlier this week, yeah, we were up at, actually, we didn't quite get there. We were up at 117.8, 117.9. Oh, 117.9, yeah. So we took the max pain for the shorts and we've immediately just dumped everything off. Remember, 109 is max pain for longs, and there's a liquidity dead zone at 111, I think, from last week, but we'll have a look at it again today. Long steadily increasing, yeah. I mean, this dump's probably triggered a lot of different fills. I mean, the switch was coming pretty much. When was this? This was actually all the way 19th. That was on Friday, no? 21, 20, 19th. So pretty much on Friday night, when we did this local breakdown and then went flat, is when short started increasing. And then, yeah, we just got the dump off after the daily close. I actually did put a 20x short on Asta. No, it wasn't on Asta. It was on the Asta platform, but on Bitcoin. The moment I saw that daily close, I just slapped short and went to sleep and woke up and I was like, yo, what the fuck? Anyway, moving on. Moving on, because I am majority long anyway, which is kind of annoying, but... liquidation. We've taken a lot of stuff to the downside, very, very locally. Yeah, we literally got a tiny bit more at 111. We've pretty much taken everything to the downside. To the upside, we've got some stuff at 108, 118 to 120. Apart from that, yeah, we cleaned out quite a lot of stuff to the downside on this down move. If this just loads, give it a second. Yeah, we got some lows at 111, which could be interesting to potentially try and hold. Apart from that, the big areas at 107k, pretty much under the low of the whole structure. But we do have a lot more long liquidity to clear than we do have shorts, and we are we are having longs increasing. So we could see a little extended period of sideways down here. On the order book, we have some stuff holding price above where we just broke down from at 116 now. This is quite heavily laddered in. We lost the node at 115.5. The next one kind of below us is at 111 again. I'll just go on the hourly so you can see this a little bit better. Hourly node. How can I draw on this? What the fuck? Sorry, I need to stop swearing so much. How can I draw on this? Pretty much failed the node over last night and over the weekend. And ever since we started doing these breakdowns, I mean, you didn't really know until we did this one fat 1 hour red candle down after the daily close, and then just continued to tumble a little bit more. So this is definitely going to be an area of resistance now. 115, let's call it 115 to 116. Area of resistance, area to gain back. And yeah, that's also the volume node. We are at one slightly smaller one now. But there's the main decent area is kind of like 111. Anyway, I usually do this first, but long to shorts. Anyway, longs increasing, nearly at 60% long. So might be in for a little bit more pain before we get the blow off gain, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the data switch. Let's switch. All right, everything all good? Everything's all good. Right, let's start off with the weekly close. So weekly close, actually kind of nothing on this previous weekly. We've literally started nuking. Literally, I think it was about 2 minutes after daily close. Maybe we had like one really. Hold on. Why is that cap down massively? Let's go to Binance instead. Yeah. So when did the daily close? Yeah, literally here. So about 15 minutes, 30 minutes after the daily close last night, we just started nuking it through everything. The weekly close looks fine. Let's take some of that off. And the weekly is actually still kind of intact. We still have these lows intact at 108. But the daily close actually yesterday looks fine as well. It's just this daily candle looks absolutely terrible. So yeah, there's definitely a possibility for a bounce somewhere in between, we'll just say like 111, 112, kind of where we are. But we got to watch these 4 hour closes, this next 4 hour close and this daily close. And yeah, longs are increasing as well. So on the metric side, let's have a look at liquidity. Yeah, we've got a little bit of stuff below us. We do have some high leverage stuff back up at sort of like August weekly open. This is pretty much what you want to gain now to gain back the whole structure. Until then, this is just for bearish retesting. So if we do see a little bit of a bounce here from the sell-off, this is just an area to bearish retest to go lower into support. And it looks quite likely now that we are going to tag, 1095, 110, and then also we've got 111 here as well. These are all potential areas of support that we could long for a bounce up. So if we do it now, potentially you could long this area and then short the weekly open if we do get up there. And if we see a bit of a bounce now, I'll be probably shorting this area, even though I am short from there anyway. So yeah, we definitely do have potential to sort of like make this look okay, but because of the daily candle that hasn't closed yet. But I think it looks a little bit knackered. I mean, we got hidden bearish over the weekend. That was actually on Thursday. We got the overbought signal as well, but we didn't get the breakdown pretty much until this candle. So when this candle closes, it will confirm the breakout below that previous weekly in the August. Because on yesterday's daily and weekly, it actually looks fine. We're just right on that low. So yeah, if we do see something like that, it's just good to short back down into support. And we might just do some more retests in here. That's where the daily combination band comes in as well. So yeah, that's kind of the 4 hour. If we do see a little bit of a bounce, just because the 4 hour is obviously super cooked on some of these oscillators, we're very oversold, like extremely oversold. Then yeah, just short here, and then potentially we're going to go back all the way into support and maybe even back down to September, which wouldn't be ideal, but I would like to see 110 held, this overlapping area, and then like to carve out some structure maybe over this next week. But yeah, this high leverage stuff I doubt is going to get a free ride. So potentially, if we get rejected with the weekly open and don't tap into any of that, then I do think we're going to just take all of this and then go do, like we said, one more blow off high, which takes even this at 124 potentially, and then bye birdie. Anyway, that's enough on Bitcoin, even though it is quite interesting today. I'm short from I'm literally short from the daily close from here, so yeah, we'll have to see how those next few hours close. Let's go to the weeklies on some of this stuff. So weekly crypto cap chart looks fine. We've got the weekly low sitting at 3.71. We don't really want to break this. We are getting some cash flow out on this weekly candle, which is kind of worrying. We have some bearish divergence and some overbought as well on the oscillator. So an area potentially where we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. If we do break 3.71 on the weekly, we're going to go down and test lower into like 3.4, 3.3 in this area. Where we really want to see some big time holds if we do that. I would like to just hold sort of these lows in here for continuation up, because this is still support. This is still support until proven otherwise. We have a new high. We have a higher low here. So basically, we don't want to break August, September. If we do on the daily time frame, it's going to be looking really bad for the whole crypto cap. Until then, you're potentially still just consolidating up here. But it does start to look a little bit knackered, to be honest. Even on the daily, we've got some bearish divergence as well. So, yeah. Anyway. Total 2 actually had a really nice weekly close. This is going to be an interesting weekly close to see if we can stay above September, maybe even stay above the previous all-time high weekly swing. I don't think there's anything really... I mean, it is, again, it's looking a bit knackered on the oscillator and stuff like that. But we don't have any breakdowns on price to go with this. So if we get break of September, then yeah, it's going to be looking pretty knackered to come back down and do some deeper retests. But right now, I feel like the weekly closes weren't that bad, and these daily closes are going to be very important. We're obviously testing September right now where we are. Whoops, I've gone back way too far. So we've done this test here. Now, really, if we break this now, the lows that we're going to put in. So even if I go to the 4 hour, if we start breaking some of this now, it's going to look really bad. So anyway, let's just have a look at Bitcoin DOM. We've seen a little bit of a spike. We are getting some bullish divergence generally coming up on the oscillator. Harmony, retail stable and demand, everything generally coming up while the price was kind of consolidating down into support. This is quite simple here. Where we're testing is pretty much what we don't want to gain if we want to see higher on alts. This level, if gained on the daily time frame, basically just this high over here, means that we're going to start going testing higher up here and then maybe up all the way to Q2. But until then, we're still looking for failures, even though that actually looks like it's starting to turn up as well. So the market looks like it's starting to roll over a little bit. Kind of what I was expecting on the rate cut sort of thing. But we got a pump instead, and now we're kind of just getting the retracement dump. But yes, do not be freaked out, sirs. ETH Bitcoin, kind of doesn't really look like that. Nothing. ETH actually has broken support now, so let's do ETH. Actually, first let's look at the weekly. So ETH weekly, it's failed its previous all-time high weekly swing. We actually did gain it and then immediately rejected it with a bearish engulfing candle, and then now we've bearishly retested it on 2 weekly candles. So if this weekly candle closes below sort of like 4,300, I believe here, this is going to be an extremely toppy weekly pattern, pretty much confirmed. And then we're going to go and test like here and maybe even all the way down to the yearly. But this does have the potential to actually be regained, because this daily candle's only just closed, and we have weekly. We have the whole week to kind of reverse this. However, the weekly chart, obviously, the weekly oscillators are looking kind of super cooked. And if we go down to the daily, Yeah, also to save this on the daily, we need to wick back up beneath, above, probably like 4 to 80 really. And even then, it's still looking a little bit rough. Even if this does wick back up to here, potentially you could just bearish retest the weekly open in September and then go a little bit lower. So yeah, it's gonna be all about this daily close for me on ETH. And even so, I feel like maybe weekly open September shorts might be a little bit of a good shout now. If we gain back this, fine. We're going to go probably a lot higher. Until then, you're potentially just looking at a bearish retest in here. Delete that. So, gain this, go higher. Do not gain, go lower. Pretty much. Interesting. There's a lot of high leverage up here. Sort of like 4 or 5. But yeah, anyway, that's looking a little bit rough now as well, especially on this daily candle. The hourly is so bottomed. New moon dump, guys. It dumped because of the new moon. But yeah, anyway, on the short term, we're obviously on the 4 hour and the hourly, we're super, super oversold. So the potential that we could see a little bit of a bounce. That actually closed lower. So you do kind of want to wait for a little bit more strength on the lower time frames before you do start maybe trying to scalp it out. For example, if you see a close above here, like that, then you're basically good to try and like long the lows again with a stop here. Until then, it just looks like it wants to kind of like flow down a little bit more. So I wouldn't be touching it until we see something like boop, boop. That maybe. Anyway, there's at least there's going to be some opportunity today and tomorrow. So we shall keep our eyes peeled. Anyway, I'm taking way too long on those two just because a lot's happening. But Solana, yeah, I think Solana's going to go hit 200 and it's still going to be pretty bullish as well. The weekly, I mean, what else can we say on the weekly? We're at resistance. We were at 786. We were at the combination band, and to be honest, this could actually go all the way to like 180 and still be relatively quite bullish on the weekly time frame, and definitely could be due a decent pullback. To be honest, yeah, I mean, not really too much else to say other than this daily candle is just obviously super nasty. Again, this is potentially an area where you could maybe get a scalp if you do see some like lower time frame like holds and gains. Let me just wait for this to load. Let's see where this is coming in. But in general, if you do see like a bounce from here, you're basically just looking to short this area because this is what you've lost now. You got the low there, you got the daily weekly open, you got a bunch of stuff that's not even helped actually. So yeah, we come all the way down and hit the low of this swing. So yeah, if we close the candle above there, which is the high of the swing, which we actually might, this next one, there's a good chance that we might see a little bit of a bounce on this, just up to like February, and then yeah, maybe see a little bit more down. Just because some of these, like if you look at the 4 hour and stuff, and the 1 hour, some of these are getting super oversold because it's a very hard, fast dump last night. But in general, the 4 hour structure is broken. The daily structure is probably going to break on this daily candle. And yeah, we're just going to do some retests slightly lower. So if you look at Sol, it could easily come all the way down here and still be pretty bullish at 200. And then you got more support at 190, which is the yearly open. So that will be the levels there. And the yearly open probably sits around the 0.5 fib. So this is like the midpoint. Well, let me just... This is probably like the midpoint in here. Makes sense. Anyway. Pop Deasley. The Pop Kid. Again, Popcat is on support. It's in the daily combination band as well. This is kind of what I wanted when it wicked over here. I wanted it a little bit lower. Again, this, I might just take off these. Should I take off those? I'll just leave that on. Again, this daily candle needs to close back above here to make it start looking good. And let's just look at the 4 hour. The 4 hours on support. We've actually broken some levels here by closing below there. So again, you could see a little bit of a bounce, but until you really gain some of this back, like there, you're potentially looking for a little bit lower on this, even though we are at macro support on this daily time frame. If you see that close below, you might just fall back down all the way into the Q2, especially if Bitcoin wants to do like 108, like the full lows retest. But other than that, I think it's, if we start seeing some local holds here on the 1 hour, the 15 minute, it might be good to long a scalp all the way back up here and then try getting some shorts. Because what did we actually dump since last night? So 1 a.m. Okay, we did 15% in about 6 hours. Yeah, we could definitely see a little bit of a bounce soon. By the way, I haven't actually checked the chat, so let me have a look at the chat. Sorry, boys. Can you look at ETH? It had a massive drop. I did look at ETH. HLP is currently long 50 mil worth of ETH. Has made over 2 mil in the past 30 minutes during a major liquidation cascade that wiped out multiple traders. This was this morning on the ETH wick. Okay, sick. So someone's making money. But yeah, on PopCat, I do think if the daily can sort of recover this low, then it'll be looking really good because we've taken most of this liquidity now underneath these lows. Like all of this is taken. Do we really think this high leverage shit is going to get a free ride up here? I think at least by looking at a bounce, at least maybe to like up there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on PopCat today. I might not wait for the daily close just in case, just if I see some like local, like some local gains and maybe some local bullish price action. But we're not there yet. We're obviously still looking a bit rough. But it's something I'm going to keep an eye on. The metals are running again. Yeah, I think they were pumping last night before I went to bed. Yeah. Cool with that. They are running, aren't they? Anyway, let's look at some of the other coins and then we'll maybe look at some things that could be good to scalp into tomorrow. it's probably quite good to just not make any rash decisions today. Let the daily close, and then we'll see what happens into tomorrow. There's obviously going to be some scalping opportunity today, though, which I will be on the lookout for. What should we look at? So kind of like a similar thing with Doge. We've got this like swing in here, which was resistance there. Let me actually take off. I'll just like put this here to exemplify it, which we are underneath right now, but this is also potentially an area that we might get a bounce from. Let me put the low of the swing on as well. It's probably like right there. And why is that there? Delete. Okay. So this is another area where we might potentially see a bounce from on Doge, just because we're getting completely oversold on these areas. Now we have broken structure to the upside. So when I say like long, I mean obviously we're not going to go and do that, but at least for a bearish retest in here, because this isn't tested, and we probably have some high leverage stuff there as well. Yeah, the high leverage stuff is actually up here. I think it's quite maybe a good shout for a little long in here, especially after this wick. You're probably not going to see another liquidation wick if we are going to bounce from here. So you can just have your stop below the low, like here, basically where the wick is. And that would be about 2%, so the risk is fine as well. But again, you kind of want to wait for some like lower time frame. Let me just take some of these brushes off because it's really hard to see. Like if you start seeing this, a new high at least on the 15-minute, then you can just say, okay, this is my low that I don't want to lose. I'll bid this whole area with the stop. But yeah, I do think we are getting quite close to a bounce, just because look, all this bull diff down here into support. We might do like a little bit, one more, and then we shall see. It's damped because of the new moon, boys. We are going to keep track of that, though, guys. By the way, we are going to keep track of that. We actually generally started dumping halfway between the cycles. So you know how I said like it doesn't go from here to here. It actually goes more like from middle to middle. So it'll be like here to like here. So we started pumping here, and then we started dumping here before the new moon. Anyway, whatever. That's just a bit of silly stuff that we're looking at. That's a bit of silly stuff, isn't it? But yeah, this is another level that we could potentially see a little bit of a short-term scalp bounce from up to the weekly open, where this is just an area to bearish retest now. And if we go to the daily, something like Doge has a really good structure, because we can just pull like a daily Stuber, because it's still bullish. Like this is still bullish structure, this daily. And so yeah, you're basically just looking for a little stop here where it does that, resets the oscillators, bearish retest, and then you get the one big dub down into the pocket, and then yeah, okay, then we get some structure out and go for the final hurrah. The final hurrah. Moon phases matter, lads. They do, but they do. But it's still a bit of a joke. Witchcraft. Yeah, we was hunting witches back in the day in England, weren't we? Not always, but what does? I love it. It's rather silly. It's all rather silly though. Exactly. I see it the same way. Like, obviously, no one's gonna base their fucking trade off. Oh no, we're going into the full moon. Let me 10x long this Bitcoin. You know, but in general, it's something that I'm definitely gonna like just be like, oh okay, we're halfway through the cycle. Like we're getting into a full moon. Maybe we might see a little bit of a pump. Oh, okay, we're halfway through the cycle. We're getting to the new moon. We might see a bit of a dump. Actually, we did pump after that and then dumped. But anyway, whatever. Hype. Generally still looks quite good. Probably one of the best out there. It always looks the best. It looks fine. Hype looks fine. Hype actually looks really good. It's just touched at 786. It's actually getting relatively close to a daily close above the previous all-time high swing, which was this, which is I've got on 48.9/49. If we can close the daily out like that, it looks really good. Pretty much we have broken the stuff to the upside though, ever since we did this. So that's kind of what we're gonna gain back. First step of that would obviously be daily weekly open, and then a test up into here would obviously start changing stuff. I mean, that's what we lost. That led us to the low. Until then, tentatively looking more towards the downside. You might get a rejection of this daily week open and then back down into this big support here in the very short term. I think I did get something filled on this wick. Maybe like 47, yeah. So if we go up to the daily weekly open, I'm definitely going to take profit on that. Because a couple other things are slightly down. But yeah, it looks fine as of right now. We are expecting a little bit more downside in the market, so I wouldn't say like it's gonna start rocketing off to new all-time highs soon. But yeah, it definitely doesn't look too bad, and I reckon this is probably gonna get tagged at some point. And then if we can do some closes above there, like on the daily, it'll be looking really good. Definitely the best looking chart here. Definitely. Isn't it a black moon, this one, though? Check it out. Isn't black moon just new moon? The next black moon. 2027. Oh, wait. Yeah. A black moon is the opposite of a blue moon. Cool. This moon shit. It matters, guys. It matters. Anyway, let's look at turbo. So this is definitely like big time filled me on this wick. I am hoping for a bounce here, as I did have my orders pretty much around this area here from this low. So I am filled on turbo right now. We really want this 886 to hold. We don't want to see any daily closes below here. Even so, we are kind of looking a little bit rough by daily closing up below here. We have the chance to save this as well. If this daily candle wicks above here. So we actually do have a chance to save this. And then start like, you know, maybe like doing something like that. And then, yeah, like, and then just like round bottoming it out. Which would be really nice. Apart from that, it looks a bit rough as of right now. The 4 hour probably broke some stuff. Yeah, the 4 hour broke some stuff. We are on the 86 though, so we're on support. I'm gonna leave it in. This is also big support. I'm going to leave it in for now. This is, yeah, probably support from all the way back here. Like there or something, like in between that area. 3032. Holding that trade till there is going to be rough though if it does do it. Let's see how that daily closes. We want to see some bounces now, boy. But yeah, savable. I'm going to watch that daily close and then maybe I might have to de-risk that or at least get some margin out at a slight loss in case it does do something a little bit more nasty. Not going to lie, I'm going to have to watch that one. Again, 4 hours super oversold though, so I'm looking for at least a little bit of a bounce here. What else? What else? I need to get the chart. Isn't it a black moon? No, it's not. You guys trading BSC shitters. Gigo has been doing numbers once in a blue moon. Lol. I used to say once in the blue moon all the time. I didn't know black moon was the opposite. I'm not actually trading Binance shitters at the moment. But if you have anything where all that's all made of cheese, is that Wallace and Gromit? I think that's Wallace and Gromit. I'm gonna take a rip of the old Benjamin. Actually, no. I should wait till I finish this. Yeah, what I was going to say is if you have anything on Asta for me to look at, because I am looking at Asta Plumbus. I remember when you said it on Friday, and I had a look into their website, their platform, their Twitter. I didn't look at their team, which I probably should have. We'll have a look at it in a second, but I like the product. I mean, it's just Hyperliquid, but with more chains, right? I think we're going to see a lot of these. And yeah, I'm trying it out. You should have blindly bought that shit. Yeah, I should have on Friday when I looked at it. I definitely should have. It was at like 70 cent. It was literally at 70 cent, 75, and I was like, fuck. I looked at it on Sunday and I was like, what? I was literally like, what? Should blindly. It's got atomic swap hidden trades and CZ backed. Yeah, it's good concoction. But anyway, Link. Again, Link not looking too terrible actually. We do have a retest of this high. We're currently above this daily low at the moment. Again, I know we're breaking the upside structure here. This daily candle has obviously broken stuff, but I'm be looking for a little bit of a bounce here. I'm not really too confident on the higher time frame structure after this. Like for example, the daily and the weekly. But the 4 hour, I am expecting a bounce, like up to here. I think that would be the highest probability play right now, especially if you're not in a trade and you wanted to get in a trade. And then potentially just like short here. And then we'll see if we do a higher low and then can maybe save it into the week. But I don't think we're going to do that. I think we might see something like that. And get a really big flush out and then get some like really strong regains on the next weekly into October. But as of right now, I'll be looking to potentially try and long this if we can hold the support on the next 4 hour. If I see the next 4 hour close nice, what I'll probably wait for is a 15-minute close above some of this stuff, and then I'll just ladder in orders all the way down here, and whatever I get, I'll get with a stop. Whatever I get, I'll get. Just for maximum safety. But, like, that looks alright. Obviously, it looks a bit rough on the daily. We're going to have to wait for these daily candles to close to actually, like, confirm, because this could even... Bro, this could even wick back above here before the end of the day and then like do a regain. So we actually don't know yet. Obviously it's looking a bit rough out now, so here's what it is. Oh, let's have a look at injective, yeah. Let's delete some of these lines. So this chart is still intact. But obviously what we need to do is we need to see a nice daily close back above here. It's still savable, but again, looking a little bit rough. We do have some cash flow out on the daily. We've got some bearish divergence. If we close a daily candle below there, it's going to be confirmed structure break, and we'll probably go all the way down to somewhere in here, which will be a bit rough. Not really what I wanted to see. I kind of want to see this hold, but we'll actually check that tomorrow as well. 4 hour, yeah, we broke that, but we didn't break this. It looks rough. It looks a bit rough. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this next 4 hour candle closes. Again, we're in heavy support on the 4 hour overlapping. The 4 hour oscillators are super cooked as well, so that looks a bit. We'll have to check that tomorrow. This Pepe shit actually just nuked through my buy zone, so I think I got stopped on this. But again, we're doing a retest of the daily low on this, so that's what you want to hold. It actually looks relatively good compared to some other stuff. Again, I think this has got a real good chance of doing. It's quite similar to everything else, is of doing that and doing a retest in here. But anyway, let's look at Asta, because I do actually want to look at that. It's all the way at the bottom. So let's flip on the hourly. Actually, it's not. I bought Asta at 60. Yo, you're a legend. Were you on my stream when Columbus was talking about Asta? It was at 60 something cent when I had a look at it. You're just a legend. All alts tapped areas to buy, but still think we get low on Bitcoin that alts could run. I don't know. Yeah, bro. Yeah, you think very, very similar to me. I also think the same. Like, I think Bitcoin could do a bit more, but alts have seen some really, really nice buy levels. I'm just gonna wait to see what happens on this daily. To be honest, I am in a couple trades just because I had a few orders set, like Turbo. What else? I can't remember what else I'm in. I had some limits set on some of these buy zones. And I had some left over actually. So for example, on Bobcat, I had limits left over all the way from back here, which didn't get hit, which just got pinged on this wick. So yeah. Anyway, back to Asta. I like that name, Asta. Got in just under 40. Wow, you guys are chilling. Been doing futures on it for over the weekend. Nice to scout after understanding how she trades. Like an absolute wanker. I've been calling 104, 100k for some time. Didn't think we'd surpass 117 with any strength. So far, we are on track. I do want it to not go as low, but I'm prepared for it if it does. Yeah, I mean, you might get your wish now. Especially looking at the liquidity and looking at the longs. It's a bit annoying, though, because I did want us to just do it a little bit slower for alts to have a little bit more breathing room, because some alts did well. So, for example, like we got the breakout on AVAX, we got the breakout on like Hype. Obviously, others does well. Solana's done really well, but things like Injective were looking so close to just absolutely breaking out. Obviously, Dodge did well, but yeah, we're just not gonna get it yet. Not yet. I keep getting distracted. Back to Asta, which I really like the name of, by the way. So, yeah, this looks decent. So So we got a swing in here. It's actually more like, that's actually not really the best, but we did touch that. So we got a swing in here, which has been tested here, by the way, to be fair. We've also got a low in here now. So it's pretty simple on this. We've got some local price action up. Very, very, very local. If you break this low now, which is daily weekly open, you're going to go into this swing. And if you break this previous daily open, actually probably 168, probably here, you're going to go up all the way to the all-time high. So I might as well just put that on at 194. Yeah, it looks okay. At some point, this is probably going to have a moment where it clears everything over here, because it's just, hold on, let me actually see if I can. Okay, the liquidations won't work, but there's probably so much underneath here and underneath here that at some point it's probably going to do a whole cascade. But you know, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. This could be quite fun to trade on like the 5 minute. Yeah, interesting. I like to buy more Asta lower. Okay. If I was looking to buy more of this, I mean, it's very, very simple. You got this swing that you could hold. It's not the best, but yeah, this is like the giga buy zone. Apart from that, you know, you're probably not going to get down here again. It's very unlikely, but I mean, it's possible. But you know, I'd be targeting like like $1 to 90 cents, basically, like 90 cents ish, like just this area. And there's also a possible trade from this swing up here to there, to the daily open. But apart from that, I don't see anything wrong with this chart. I think as long as you hold here, as long as you hold this daily weekly open now, you're probably going to go higher. So I might even trade some of this week, to be honest, like on the 5 minute or some shit. Like that's a 10% move. What's the RR on this? 3%. Yeah, you could maybe get a 4-1. That's 4-1. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not good. It moves fucking crazy, by the way. Like these moves are 20% moves in 2 hours. Like it will move 10% in an hour. That's nuts. Anyway, definitely potential to scout maybe on low leverage cross. Asta is great on the 5 minute with VWAPs and fibs. Yeah, I think I'm going to try that this week. Token unlock 16th of October. Okay, good to know. She isn't listed on Binance. Bybet listing soon. It's bullish as fuck until otherwise. I agree. I think there is Bybet though. Yeah, look, Bybet and Binance. They both got the perp contracts on. You don't think they would miss a trick there, bro? They're obviously going to get all over this shit. Like, I mean, spot. Okay, fair. But yeah, I mean, other than that, what else have we really got to go through? Alt's getting absolutely wrecked. Wrecked. But yeah, if you're savvy today, you might be able to catch some bounce longs. It's like even like sushi to a certain extent. Look at this. This is actually something which is relatively interesting. This is something that's relatively interesting to bounce as well, because look how much liquidity we just taken out in this down move. There's not that much stuff to the downside. 4 hours are completely oversold, so okay, that's good. And there's pretty much nothing in between us from here till the weekly open and August for a retest. But again, local price action, not great. I want to see a little pop, and then I'll potentially try and catch something. And I'll wait for the next 4 hour, and I'll wait for the American Open. And then maybe towards the end of today, because it is about midday, maybe in the afternoon, we'll see how things go, and then we'll get the daily close. And then, yeah, we'll talk about how bad it's going to be tomorrow. Apart from that, it might be worth setting some orders. But yeah, excuse me for yawning. Does anyone have anything they would like me to look at or talk about? Because my general gist on every altcoin is going to be quite similar. I think we've left some massive gaps to the upside. Oh, we haven't even looked at CMEs. Sorry. That's actually one thing I have to do on Monday. What is this? This is the CME. Why is there no gap? Oh, the CME opened already. Wait, what? Oh, CME opens on Sunday night. Okay, so the gap is... There's no gap. There's no gap, but if there is one, it would be at the daily weekly open. Wait, what? Why does it... I swear it doesn't print over the weekend. I guess this opens on Sunday night, I guess. Weird. Sunday at 5 p.m. EST. Why? Do you know why? That's a bit of a weird question, I know, but I just live here. Yeah, fair. Fair. Well, I was gonna say, because I feel like on Friday we closed at 1:15 around here. I was gonna say there was gonna be a nice CME gap at the weekly open, which just adds to my theory that we're gonna get a bounce. But there's not really any gap, so anyway. Apart from that, yeah. Any specific charts that are looking at? What is the best bounce trade now? Tell me. Bro, so like Sui did a full lows retest just here. This thing is doing a full lows retest. I spotted a snare. Hey. My ones look so gay. this light blue little fucking pen. I bet I need to conserve mine because they're really hard to get in UK. It's not like America or Canada. And the less liquid it has in it, the less strong it becomes. So I've got one which is like got only a little bit left and it's like super weak. I got one which is half full and it's like a little bit weak, and then the full one is like full strength. So if I want to get blazed. Stu has a site in Canada that's $10 cards, and they mail them right to you. Can he mail them to me in the UK? That would be fucking sick. I seriously doubt it, but maybe like one or two. I think customs would stop that, I'd assume. Yeah. I think it would have to be legal. Otherwise, it probably won't get through. But I mean, it's worth a try, right? $10, I'll probably have to pay like $20 for shipping. Oh well, what's $30-$40? If it works, it's fucking. I got a whole supply. I could supply everyone in my area and just sell them for like 30 quid. Anyway, can you private message me that, bro? Or maybe I'll message Stu. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna stop my recording here.